for not being a huge Star Wars fan, there sure is a high percentage of my small amount of videos that are Star Wars themed. I am Robin at Bookbound Mama, and here on this channel, I love to talk about books that I love. I usually like to share a quick summary and some reasons I think these books are awesome. I also love costume bounding, or book bounding, as I like to call it, a character from the book by just adding little elements to hint at that character in my outfit. And today, I am Darth Vader. Not the first time I've had a lightsaber on this channel. With Father's Day right around the corner, I wanted to share a book about dads, and this is the first book that came to mind. Darth Vader and Son is written by Jeffrey Brown. It was published in 2012, and this is a collection of just one-page comics. And the premise is that Darth Vader is in the role of father, and he is acting in the dad role for his 4-year-old son, Luke Skywalker. When I first read this book, I had very little to no knowledge of the Star Wars movies. Now I understand some of these comics a little bit better because either my husband explained some of them to me or my kids, who are now big Star Wars fans. But what I love about this book is that it definitely stands on its own without having any Star Wars knowledge. There are certain comics that are a lot funnier if you have some background with the movies. I think the whole premise of Darth Vader in the role as dad is pretty hilarious as it is. And a lot of the comics are also just about the things that happen as a parent. Like this one where Luke does not like the breakfast that Darth Vader made, and so Darth Vader pours him some C-3POs. And this one where he's reprimanding Luke for not picking up his toys and says the famous line, which may or may not be exactly how it is in the movie, but Luke, I am your father. So even if you have very little Star Wars knowledge, this book can definitely be appreciated. I have a special place in my heart for this book because I read this book to my 4-year-old daughter when her brother was first born, and I was just spending hours on the couch nursing my newborn baby and reading to my daughter. And I think in that time of such big emotions that happen after a person gives birth, at least for me, I experienced pretty high highs and low lows. But when I read this book, I just could not stop laughing. I thought this was the funniest thing in the entire world, and it does hold up. I have reread it many times since that time, and it is still quite hilarious. But it was such a precious gift for me in those crazy, bleary-eyed early days after a baby's born. I made photocopies of some of my favorite comics and put them on the fridge, and they just cracked me up every time I saw them. I'll show you some of my favorite ones real quick. Okay, it's really hard to work with these gloves. This one where Darth is sleeping with Luke and he's thinking my arm is totally asleep. That one just really got me. And I think one of my absolute favorite ones is this one where the officer says to Darth, "He looks just like you, Lord Vader." I don't know, but that one just got me every time. I was in hysterics for the first many, many times I looked through this book. We later discovered that there was another book, Vader's Little Princess. In this one, we see Darth Vader in the role of dad to Princess Leia this time, and we watch her grow from being a little girl into a rebellious teen. This one, I don't know if my kids found quite as funny early on, but now that they're a little older, my preteen especially can appreciate a lot of the humor of the comics featuring some of those teen moments. When Princess Leia says to Vader, "And then I said, I love you," and all he said back was, "I know." Again, I had to have some of these explained to me, but there are quite a few that stand on their own just as parenting moments in general. There are actually several books in the series we found out. So there is a Christmas or Sithmas themed one. There is a Good Night one, a Ray and Pals one, I feel like I'm missing some. Oh, most recently, Mandalorian and Child, which has also got the vibe of sort of a dad-themed book. That one I definitely appreciate. It's definitely got a lot of those parenting moments of what it's like to have an infant or a baby. So even though I don't understand all the references, it's still quite hilarious. The outfit I'm wearing today is my little hint at Darth Vader with a black dress. I just took a piece of black fabric and hot glued on some rectangles in red and green. I was actually going to wear this as a belt, but I realized that wouldn't quite show on the videos. If I, at some point, do a video showing a more full view of my outfits, I'll wear it as a belt. And, of course, my gloves, which I just took off. It's super simple just to do a costume bounding or book bounding outfit if you're a librarian or a teacher and you think that that sounds like a fun idea. Darth Vader's little chest plate is really easy to sort of allude to or hint to just by taking little rectangles of different color fabric and either wearing them as a headband or a belt, or I guess even as a bracelet or around your arm. Something that just gives a hint to the character is kind of the point of the bounding instead of trying to recreate the costume as it is. Normally, I like to play a piece of music to go with the book, and oddly, with these Star Wars ones, I kind of don't know what to play because there's so many weird rules about copyright. Instead, my son was very inspired to make some quick little stop motion videos of Darth Vader using the Force here to push Luke around on his bike. Here is Darth Vader using the Force to push Princess Leia on the swing. That is all for today. If you or someone in your family are fans of Star Wars, I highly recommend these books. They are so well done. They are so hilarious. Like I said, there are several in the series. I am very partial to Darth Vader and Son because it's the first one that we found, but Vader's Little Princess is also great, and we have checked out all the other ones from the library. I think we own a couple of the other ones as well. I definitely appreciate the parenting humor that's in these first couple ones and in the Mandalorian and Child. If this is something that interests you, hearing about books, especially children's books, and just hearing a quick review and seeing a little costume bounding outfit, please feel free to subscribe or hit the little thumbs up button. Those things really do make a difference. So I sure appreciate it. And next week, with summer solstice on the horizon, I cannot wait to talk about a book about fairies. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.